Hello everybody, welcome to join our COXO publicly free webinars. This is Snaker from COXO. The last time, thank you for Dr. Mustafa from Egypt, wonderful speech. I believe that many dentist friends get new knowledge last time. Many friends want to learn more knowledge earlier. This time, we are glad to invite another professor from Italy to talk about the role of irrigation and 3D cleaning in model endodontics. Okay, let's warmly welcome Dr. Alberto Dana.
Hello. Hello, everyone.
Dr. Alberto Dana.
Welcome.
Hello.
Hello. Hello, everyone.
Hello.
Welcome. Welcome to all. Thank you for being there today or this evening. I heard that in China is evening. Do you hear me?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. We can start.
Okay. So, before the course start, we'd like to introduce about our certificate and the lottery regulations. So first, we'd like to introduce the certificate. I'd like to let Dr. OK， 等一下。Hello, Dr. Boto Danas. Please begin your course.
Okay, we can start.
Okay.
Okay. Is it okay? Okay, my course, my webinar today will speak about irrigation, because irrigation, I think, is one of the key for the success in modern endodontics. Today, endodontics have been evolved, and the clinical endodontics is the result of more than 20, 30 years of evolution. Today, we have at disposal the operative microscope that guarantees us the best view as possible of the endodontic space, but we have also at disposal so many electronic devices to shape, to treat the root canals, hand pieces with control of speed, of torque, and so many devices perfected in these years that simplify daily endodontics. And we can use high-performing instruments evolved in the last 25, 30 years, made of nickel titanium alloy with different treatment of the alloy that improve the result of the shaping, of the root canal shaping, and guarantee to the clinician the best result as possible. And also we have at disposal a lot of of different files for each clinical situation, rotary, reciprocating files, vibrating files, ultrasonic files that give us the opportunity to treat every kind of anatomy. And to conclude the root canal treatment, we have at disposal so many tools, devices, materials to guarantee the better sealing, the better as possible of the root canal space. So what we can do in daily endodontics is to improve and to make the irrigation protocols the better as possible. As Herbert Schilder told us for a lot of years, we all know that what we remove from root canal is more important than what we place inside. We can remove everything is inside the root canal with the aid of irrigating solution. So we can obtain the better cleaning, disinfection, and as possible of the endodontic space, not depending on the root canal anatomy, because every one of us knows how complex is the endodontic space. We perfectly know the complexities of each root canal and of the endodontic anatomy. So only if we can gain a complete root canal cleaning, we can obtain a complete root canal obturation. So three-dimensional cleaning today may represent the key for the success of each endodontic treatment, and only if we gain the three-dimensional cleaning of the root canal space, we can obtain the three-dimensional obturation as in these X-rays I showed you. Because we perfectly know that the endodontic therapy is focused on cleaning, shaping, and sealing the root canal space. This aim is made to obtain the complete removal of pulp tissue inside the root canal, the elimination of each kind of bacteria as possible from the canals, and when we seal the endodontic space, we have to prevent each kind of recontamination of endodontic space. I like to put in my presentation this literature done in more than 35 years ago, in 1983, that I consider it one of the bases of my clinical approach. Today, we perfectly know that when we treat endodontically a tooth, we have to achieve a root canal free of microorganisms. Our endodontic treatment is made to remove in the better way as possible bacteria and each kind of microorganisms present inside the root canal. And we can do it mainly with irrigating solution, because bacteria and pathogens and microorganisms can be considered the cause of failure of each endodontic treatment. So we have to remove them from the root canal space in the better way as possible. In each kind of case, when we treat a vital tooth, when we treat a non-vital tooth, or when we treat a treated tooth, in each kind of these cases, we can find different kind of bacteria and different amount of bacteria inside the root canal space. So we have to do the best work as possible with irrigating solution in order to clean, to disinfect the root canal space and to achieve an endodontic space free of living bacteria that can be sealed, and thanks to the obturation of root canals, we can guarantee the survival of each tooth in the mouth of the patient. So the aim of each endodontist or of each endodontical treatment is to eliminate bacteria from the root canals and to clean the canals from everything we can find inside the root canal. We perfectly know that each root canal treatment is made of different steps. We start with the preparation, with the diagnosis, with the preparation of the tooth, with isolation, opening of access cavity, until the obturation of the sealing, the obturation of the endodontic space. But I think that the most important procedure that we can do during a root canal treatment is made by the shaping and the irrigation of the root canal space. That's why we usually speak about chemiomechanical preparation of the endodontic space, because the chemiomechanical preparation is made by the synergy of instruments, files, each kind of instrument we can use, rotary, reciprocating, vibrating, ultrasonic, and by the activity of irrigating solution. Today, the instruments, the files, have been evolved in different kind of files, multi-use files or single-use files, multi-step files or single files systems, but the aim of the new instruments is to simplificate, thanks to the evolution of nickel titanium alloy. The aim of this file is to simplificate the root canal treatment, because each clinician can do a root canal treatment with the few amount as possible of instruments. So today we can reduce the time for shaping the root canals, and if we reduce the time for shaping, we can put our attention, we can focus more on irrigation of endodontic space. This is a case I did in the past. Not an easy case, because I spent a lot of time to gain the apical third, to reach the apex of the root canal. And during the pre-flaring, the opening of the canals, I broke a file inside the mesial root of this tooth, probably at level of the confluence, and I had to spend a lot of time to regain the access of the canals, and I used so many files for pre-flaring, for glide path preparation. But when I gained the apical third, when I gained the working length, I did the root canal shaping only with a one file, one to shape. That's why we can simplify as in the best way as possible the root canal treatment, using the minimum number of files during shaping, but it depends so much on root canal anatomy. So in so many cases, we have to put a lot of attention, a lot of steps in opening the canals, in gaining the working length, and when the root canals are totally opened, we can shape them with the less files as possible. But we have to focus so much on irrigation, because we cannot leave inside the root canals bacteria. Each kind of microorganism present inside or left inside the root canal can determine the failure of a root canal treatment. So when we shape and when we clean, when we irrigate the root canal, the primary goal of each endodontist is to eliminate the bacteria. And remember that it's impossible to sterilize the endodontic space. We have to eliminate the bacteria, and we have to do our best to decrease the bacterial load inside the root canals. But when we shape the canals with mechanical files, we produce a lot of debris, of a smear layer, of dentinal debris that will depose along the dentinal walls. So we have to irrigate not only to reduce bacteria, but at the same time to remove the smear layer, the debris that cover root canal walls. These are scanning electron microscope images we got in University of Pavia, where I work, where I do my daily research, of dentinal walls immediately after root canal shaping, after shaping with the rotary files, without the use of irrigating solution. And you can see how many debris are covering the dentinal walls. When we clean the root walls with irrigating solution, we have to obtain images like this one. We have to clean in the best way as possible the dentinal walls. We have to remove debris in order to leave irrigating solution free to disinfect all dentinal tubulus and all the walls where bacteria can stay, can live. And if we do that, we can guarantee the healing of periapical tissues. We can guarantee the survival of the tooth and the health of the mouth of the patient. Like in that case, in this tooth with that huge apical lesion, I did a simple root canal shaping, but I put my attention to clean, to disinfect in the best way as possible the endodontic space. And the action of irrigating solution gave me the opportunity to seal in the best way as possible the apical third, the apical delta. You can see in that images the obturation of the apical third and the healing after 8-9 months of that huge apical lesion. And this result is what we can obtain every day in our daily practice, because anatomy of root canals is very complex. These are beautiful images obtained by my friend Alfredo Iandolo of endodontic space. You can see how complex is the root canal space, and how many ramifications, how many canals can depart from the main canal and can go through the root. And these canals cannot be reached by files, and they have to be reached only by chemical agents in order to clean, to disinfect, and to reduce in the best way as possible the bacterial load, or to eliminate, if we are able to do it, all the bacteria living inside the root canals. Because when we shape with rotary files or reciprocating files the root canals, we have always to remember that the activity, the action of each file is limited to the main canal, but they produce debris that can impact the lateral canals, can impact the anastomosis between different canals, and we have to remove all the debris, all the bacteria, only with the aid of irrigating solution. We have so many literature that teach us that each file can touch no more than 50% of dentinal walls during instrumentation, during shaping. So the remaining amount of dentinal walls, of canal walls, have to be cleaned and disinfected and shaped by the action of chemical solutions. Because the anatomy is very, very varying, is very complex. Look at these beautiful images got by Alfredo Iandolo of apical third, of ramifications of the apical delta, of the canals in the apical third of these teeth. And these anatomical complexities can leave free space for bacteria that can live inside the canals, can be the cause of the failure of a root canal treatment. And anatomy is very, very varying, is very complex. This is a second lower molar I treated some years ago. And look which kind of anatomy I found. But because I did a great and efficient disinfection and cleaning, and then obturation of the root canal space, 1 year after, the lesion, the apical lesion, was dissolved. So the success of the therapy was determined by the disinfection, the cleaning, and the good obturation of the canal space. We can find endodontic lesions at different level of the root. In this case, this lower molar had interradicular radiolucency lesion without any kind of periodontal probing. That means that we can have a lateral canal at that level. In fact, I did the treatment, I did the best to clean and to disinfect the root canal, and when I obturated, I sealed the root canal space, I found that lateral canal at the level of the bifurcation of the roots. And that's not the only one case. This is a similar case with another lateral canal at the middle third of the mesial root of this molar. When we find a lateral lesion of a root, we have to suspect the presence of a lateral canal. And in so many cases, we can find that lateral canal. We cannot scout that lateral canal. But if we improve our irrigation protocols, we can clean by the chemical action of irrigating solution, and we can seal each kind of lateral canals or apical deltas, like in that case. I can show you so many cases like this. Look at that apical delta in this lower molar. This image is the image is made by Alfredo, always by Alfredo Iandolo, that did a lot of beautiful images of root canal anatomy. And in that molar, I found a similar apical third with three or more ramifications that were cleaned by irrigating solution, and only in that way were filled by sealer, by the cement and by the gutta percha during obturation procedure. This is another case of a complex apical third, of a complex apical delta, cleaned thanks to the help of irrigating solution. And if irrigating solution help us in cleaning the apical delta, the obturation materials can fill the endodontic anatomy and all the complexities of endodontic space. This is another case of retreatment with this complex anatomy perfectly cleaned during the irrigation procedures and then filled with the sealer with the obturation material. Not depending on which kind of files we use to shape the root canal, and not depending on which kind of obturation material or cement or sealer we use. We have to clean in the best way as possible the endodontic space, and the material will fill the cleaned space. This is another simple case of a lower premolar with that huge lesion healed in 10 months, thanks to the complete tridimensional cleaning and filling of endodontic space. So I guaranteed the survival of the teeth to the patient. And I can show you so many cases of strange and complex anatomies. Look at this premolar with that curvatures and with that complex apical delta, completely filled by endodontic sealer. Or that, or like in this case of this low upper maxillary molar with a loop in the mesial root and with that complex apical delta in the palatine root. But it's not always like these cases. Sometimes we can find molar like this. This is a control X-ray I took in 2019 of the tooth, obviously without a great, satisfactory, a nice, a beautiful obturation. But in this case, the tooth was healthy because there was no radiographical signs of failure of the treatment. You can see the bone healthy, you can see the periodontal ligament healthy, you can see the tooth that was healthy in the mouth because it was not symptomatic, and I considered that root canal treatment a success. In fact, I did this treatment 5 years before. This is in the left X-ray, the initial radiograph of the tooth. I retreated the tooth and I did my best to clean and to seal the endodontic space. But in the mesial root, I was not able to reach the apical third, even if with the aid of a microscope, I found 3 mesial canals, also a middle mesial canal between the buccal and the vestibular canal, but I cannot reach the working length. So I was sure that I did my best, and the tooth, the healing process of the tooth, of the periodontal, periapical tissues of the patient did the rest, the remaining work. Because in 2016 and also in 2019, the tooth was perfectly healthy because I cleaned in the best way as possible the endodontic space I found in that tooth. Because remember, never forget what Herbert Schilder told us, that what we remove from root canals is really more important than what we place inside it. So no matter which kind of material, which kind of file you use, but remember that what really matter is what you remove from root canal, mainly with the aid of chemical solutions. we have at disposal so many chemical solutions, so many irrigating solutions. And what we want is that each irrigating solution guarantee antibacterial activity, removal or ability to remove pulp tissue or each kind of organic tissue from the root canal, and the removal of debris as mere layer produced during the shaping procedures. We have at disposal so many kind of irrigating solution, but today no one of them, of the available irrigating solution, meets all these requirements. So we have to use different, we have to combine different irrigating solutions. Today we perfectly know that the gold standard in modern endodontics is given by the association of sodium hypochlorite and EDTA. What we can do is to improve their effectiveness in order to clean and disinfect in the best way as possible the endodontic space. And what we want to obtain are X-rays images like those, with complex apical deltas cleansed and filled, with lateral canals, with healthy teeth. So the question today is how to improve, to enhance the effectiveness of irrigating solution. We can do it in two ways: by heating the irrigating solution and by activating them. The heating today mainly of the sodium hypochlorite is considered an effective way to improve the action of irrigating solution. These are images by Arnaldo Castellucci, and I took from his textbook, in which he demonstrated that heated sodium hypochlorite with a concentration of 5% at 50 Celsius degrees can guarantee the complete dissolution of pulp in very, very few minutes. Each picture is taken after 1 or 2 minutes, and so you can see that in 8-10 minutes this fragment of human pulp is totally dissolved inside sodium hypochlorite at 50 degrees. So the heating of sodium hypochlorite can increase the ability to dissolve the pulp tissue. And how to do it? With dedicated devices or with simple devices like a mag heater. These are images, text from Arnaldo Castellucci textbook. We can warm the sodium hypochlorite and put it inside the root canal at 50 degrees. And we guarantee the best dissolution as possible of the pulp. But not only this. In this article, in this research we did some years ago in University of Pavia, in our department, we tested different irrigating solution, and we found that the irrigation and the heating of sodium hypochlorite at 45 degrees really increase its antimicrobial, antibacterial activity. So if we heat the sodium hypochlorite, we can dissolve the pulp in a better way, but we can also increase its antibacterial activity. And third, this is another research we did in my university with my group, with my staff. If we heat the irrigating solution, we can reduce their viscosity. So irrigating solutions like sodium hypochlorite or EDTA are able to penetrate in the best ways possible the endodontic space, the lateral canals, the dentinal tubulus. So if we heat between 40, 50 or 60 degrees the irrigating solution, we can remove and dissolve the pulp in a better way. We can disinfect in a better way the endodontic space, and irrigating solution can penetrate canals and spread along dentinal surface in a better way. But on the other side, we can find in literature many articles that showed us that when we extrude warmed solution inside a canal, the solution in few seconds can reach the body temperature. So if we warm sodium hypochlorite at 60 degrees and we extrude it inside a root canal, in few seconds, the sodium hypochlorite inside the canals quickly reach the body temperature, 36, 37 degrees. The same if we extrude inside a tooth, inside a canal, sodium hypochlorite at room temperature. In the same time, if the irrigating solution is at room temperature or warmed, inside a tooth quickly reach the body temperature, about 35, 36, 37 degrees. So the question is, why not to heat, to warm the irrigating solution directly inside the canal? If we have a risk to reduce quickly its temperature when it's warmed outside the mouth of the patient, we can heat it directly inside the canal. And that's a very new technique we introduced, and we are used to call intracanal heating of irrigating solution. Or, to be correct, this technique was introduced in 2005 by Woodmansey, who suggested to heat the sodium hypochlorite directly inside the root canal using a heat carrier, because we perfectly know that each chemical agent can improve its efficiency by increasing of temperature, pressure, or concentration. But when we work inside an open root canal, we cannot increase the pressure of the irrigating solution, because we are in an open space, in an open behavior. We perfectly know that we cannot increase the concentration of sodium hypochlorite more than 5 or 6%, because at 6% or more than 6%, the sodium hypochlorite is no more stable, is more efficient. So the only one parameter that we can change is the temperature of the irrigating solution. We can use it at room temperature, at 20 degrees, and when we put it inside the root canal, in few seconds, it will reach the body temperature. Or we can warm it at 50 or 60 degrees, but we are exposed to the risk of a quick decreasing of temperature when we put it inside the root canal, because it will reach quickly the body temperature. But what we can do is to warm it more directly inside the root canal. And how? We can do it as suggested by Woodmansey in 2005, using a simple device that is a heat carrier used for the warm compaction of guttapercha. In fact, Woodmansey showed that sodium hypochlorite at boiling temperature, 101 Celsius degrees, is more than 200 times efficient in dissolve the pulp respect to the same irrigating solution at room temperature. So he suggested to heat it for a few seconds inside the root canal. And this technique was studied by us, by our group, by Alfredo Iandolo and by other clinicians. Alfredo published different articles studying all the effect of this high warming of the sodium hypochlorite, because we perfectly know the risk of tissue damages if we exceed the temperatures of the tooth. And Alfredo, in an article, in a research he published years ago, showed that we can be safe when we heat the sodium hypochlorite at 180 degrees for no more than 8 seconds. So our technique, the technique that we introduced, is to heat the sodium hypochlorite at 180 Celsius degrees for no more than 8 seconds in order to reach the boiling temperature of the irrigating solution, but without evaporation of the irrigating solution, because if the irrigating solution evaporates, it can leave inside the canals some salts. So we have only to reach in few seconds, and in the videos I will show you after, you can see that in 1, 2, or 3 seconds the sodium hypochlorite can boil inside the root canal in a very safe way, because we don't hit the root and the periapical tissues at or better, we cannot reach risky temperatures using a conventional heat source. So we don't have to buy a specific device. We can use the device we daily use for compaction of gutta percha. Look in this video. This is a molar in which I inserted a heat carrier, and look in a few seconds, 2 or 3 seconds, the sodium hypochlorite boiling inside the root canal. This is a higher magnification, so you can see it better. We activate the heating of the tip, and the sodium hypochlorite start to boil. But we warm it for a few seconds, because we don't want the irrigating solution will evaporate. We have only to warm it for a few seconds and to generate a mechanical agitation of the irrigating solution that will become very, very fluid inside the root canal, and will disinfect in the best way as possible the endodontic space. So, resuming, the benefits of this technique that is under daily studies is that the direct heating of irrigating solution is safe if we use it respecting the protocols. No more than 180 degrees, no more than 8 seconds, but in the most cases 2, 3, or 4 seconds are enough. In that way, we can obtain the best dissolution as possible of the pulp. We can reduce the viscosity of the irrigating solution that will reach the lateral canals and will clean the walls of the canal. Thanks to the boiling action and the mechanical agitation of the fluid, the irrigating solution will mechanically remove debris from the canals, from the walls, and the disinfection and the cleaning of the canals is more predictable, thanks to a very, very easy technique, because we don't need a specific device, a specific tool, but we can use an heat carrier we daily use for compaction of gutta percha inside the canal. And we published some researches articles. This is an article you can find on PubMed. In which Alfredo tested the ability of this solution of the pulp. This is another article we published in which we tested the cleaning ability of the sodium hypochlorite when heated inside the canal and compared to the simple use of irrigating solution at room temperature or heated at 50 degrees. And what we obtained with this technique were cleaned walls. These walls are these images we took in University of Pavia are images of dentinal walls cleaned only with the use of sodium hypochlorite without the use of DTA. And thanks to the activation, to the heating, and to the mechanical movement of the boiling solution, you can see the removal, a good removal, an interesting removal of debris, because you can see the open dentinal tubulus. These images are took at 20,000 magnification. You can see the dentinal tubulus without no signs of thermal damage, totally cleaned, totally exposed, and perfectly visible along the dentinal walls. And also, this is another article published, another research done by Ghassan Yard from Lebanon. He showed that the intracanal heating of sodium hypochlorite also increases the disinfection ability, the antibacterial ability of irrigating solution. So we can join this technique to the traditional activation of irrigating solution. The activation is a mechanical vibration of irrigating solution inside the root canals, widely studied. We can find so many publications about this technique that changed so much the predictability of irrigating protocols. Today we can find so many articles, so many literature about the activation of irrigating solution in order to clean in the best way as possible the root canal complexities. The simplest technique at disposal is the manual dynamic activation, made with a gutta percha cone used as a pump or with a pump action inside the root canal. And many articles displays that this technique is more efficient than no one technique of activation. So this simple technique of agitation, of pumping, of irrigating solution can improve the efficiency of irrigating solution. You can see the action of a gutta percha point inside a root canal filled with irrigating solution and pumped inside the canal in order to spread the irrigating solution along the dentinal walls and, if possible, inside lateral canals. But today we have at disposal also devices made for this aim. The endoactivator is a sonic, a vibrating machine, simple device that vibrate the irrigating solution inside the root canals. This is a clinical case made. I made with the endo activator, with a plastic tip that vibrates, sonically vibrates inside the canal. This device agitates the sodium hypochlorite and increase the cleaning and the disinfecting, the antibacterial, the cleaning efficiency of the solution. Or we can find other tips for sonical handpieces, sonical devices made. This is a tip, a nickel titanium vibrating tip made by Comet, a German manufacturer, made for the same. It's mounted on a vibrating handpiece, air vibrating handpiece, and vibrated inside the canals in order to agitate, to mechanically agitate the irrigating solution. But what literature today say is that passive ultrasonic activation is absolutely the best and the more efficient technique to activate the irrigating solutions, because the use of ultrasonic generators, ultrasonic tips, can create effects of acoustic streaming and cavitation of the irrigating solution, and these effects increase drastically the efficiency, the cleaning efficiency of irrigating solution. So we can find on the market different devices made for ultrasonic activation of irrigating solution. And we have so many literature that confirm that passive ultrasonic activation is the best way as possible to improve the efficiency of the irrigating solution. And it's more effective than traditional manual dynamic activation, or more effective than the use of sonic systems, mainly thanks to the higher frequency range and the streaming velocity of the tip activated by ultrasonic device. Look at this video. This is a fluid in which is vibrating an ultrasonic tip, and look at the movement the tip vibrating is giving to the fluid. It generates an acoustic streaming that create a lot of waves inside the liquid, and these waves increase the activity of and the spreading of the irrigating solution inside the root canals. This is a methylene blue dye inside a transparent teat. The canals are totally filled with the dye, with the blue dye, and an ultrasonic device is vibrating inside the canals. Look at the spreading of blue dye inside the dentinal tabulus, inside that ramifications between the main canals. Thanks to the vibration, thanks to the acoustic streaming, thanks to the cavitation of the liquid can spread inside dentinal tubulus, lateral canals, and it can clean and disinfect in the best way as possible. So thanks to the ultrasonic vibration of the irrigating solution, the irrigating solution can spread and fill all the endodontic space. That's incredible. We have at disposal some tips made for ultrasonic device I used in the past. These are made by Cytelect, an American manufacturer. The same used on the device made for dental hygiene. But today, the real novelty is the introduction in the launch on the market of specific devices, cordless devices. The gray one is the Endo Ultra, the first one on the put on the market, and probably actually no more sold, no more available. And the Ultra Smart, the newest one by COXO, very, very useful, cordless, small, practical handpiece with a specific titanium blue tip made for the ultrasonic agitation, vibration, activation of irrigating solution. So its tip can be pulled inside the root canal filled with the irrigating solution and vibrated in order to activate and to increase the efficiency of the irrigating solution. This is a video at higher magnification. You can see the work of the tip and the agitation, the movement of the fly of the sodium hypochlorite that become milky because it's working, it's cleaning the endodontic space. This typical aspect of the sodium hypochlorite means that is cleaning, is dissolving organic tissue, and is cleaning the root canal. So, resuming, this is what I do day by day in my clinical practice. I use sodium hypochlorite and the DTA. I'm used to clean immediately after the opening of the access cavity with sodium hypochlorite, because sodium hypochlorite is helpful in decreasing immediately the bacterial load, and if the tooth is vital, the pulp is bleeding, is able to reduce, to control the bleeding in order to look and to find the orifices of the canal. And then I start to shape, not depending on which kind of file I use. I'm used to clean with EDTA in order to remove dentinal debris produced by the rotating file, and then I clean with the sodium hypochlorite, and I always work with sodium hypochlorite inside the root canal while the file is shaping the dentinal walls. Then I remove the file, I rinse with the DTA to remove the debris of hard tissue, and then I re-put new sodium hypochlorite. And also during these steps, I can intracanal heat the solution. But what I do and where I put my main focus is at the final rinse. At the end of root canal shape, at the end of canal preparation, I do a final rinse with sodium hypochlorite, heated with an heat source at 180 Celsius degrees for 5-6 seconds, no more, and I do a cycle of ultrasonic activation for 20-30 seconds. Then I replace new sodium hypochlorite and I repeat the intracanal heating and ultrasonic activation for 5-6 times until I'm sure to do the best cleaning and disinfection as possible. After that, I'm ready to dry the canals and to do the final obturation of the endodontic space. And that's an article I published 2 years ago in 2019, in which I described this technique. We appointed with my friend Alfredo Iandolo, my friend Luca Ivaldi, with Dina Abdellatif, Alfredo Iandolo's wife, and all the members of this big group, the 3D cleaning project group. You can join on Facebook if you are not, if you are no more inside it, and you can share, you can speak about irrigation, about all the problems or the doubts or all the clinical procedures we can do in daily endodontics. And just to finish, complete root canal treatment, a clinical case. I showed you so many cases, but this is the last one. The root canal treatment of this lower molar with very, very tight canals, but with the periapical radiolucency and apical lesion. I did a very, very conservative access cavity. You can see the presence of irrigating solution of sodium hypochlorite as soon as I open the root canal, the access cavity, sorry. And I after the opening of access cavity, I rinse with sodium hypochlorite. In this case, the tooth was not vital. And then I start to scout the canals with a small stainless steel hand file. Then I create with a specific file the glide path. I do the pre-flaring of root canals, in this case with the 1G by Micromega. And then I shape the canal. So only one file to scout the canals, only one file to do the pre-sharing, and only one file for the complete root canal treatment. Quindi the easiest shaping procedure as possible. I can do it very quickly, but I spend so many time to irrigate, to clean, to disinfect the root canal space. This is the new martensitic alloy file working inside the root canal. I go quick, and then I heat the solution inside the root canal with a thermal carrier, with a heat carrier at 180 degrees, only until the solution boils, but avoiding evaporation of the solution. So few seconds to reach the boiling temperature. Then I remove the heat carrier and I put inside the canal the ultrasonic tip to vibrate for 20-30 seconds the irrigating solution. Then I put new irrigating solution, I heat the solution, and I repeat the activation for 4, 5, 6 times until I reach the best disinfection and cleaning as possible. That's why we speak about 3-dimensional cleaning of root canal space, because we improve in the best way as possible the action of irrigating solution in order to clean and to disinfect the endodontic space and its complexities. Then after that, I'm ready to dry and to obturate the root canal. And that's the result after that procedure. So with so many, in a easy way, I will shape the canals. I prefer to reduce the number of files during the shaping procedures, but I spend my time of the major time of the treatment to improve, to increase the irrigating procedures. And to conclude, just an advice: don't waste, never waste your results using paper points not sterilized. We have so many literatures that show us that not sterile paper points are rich, filled of bacteria. I always prefer to use pre-sterilized paper points, because we have to dry the canals after we did our best to decrease the amount of bacteria. So don't use paper points not sterilized that you can find in your office, in your drafts, but always use sterilized paper points. And if you can, try to disinfect, sterilize also the gutta percha points. How? Put some drops of sodium hypochlorite inside a plate and put the master cones inside the hypochlorite for a few seconds while you are drying. In the meantime, you will dry the canals and you are ready to use that disinfected points to seal the canals. And now I finish it. I thank you so much for your attention. And obviously, my special thanks will go to COXO that made this webinar possible, that gifted me that beautiful, wonderful devices with my signature that I'm using in my daily practice. And I hope you enjoyed that webinar. I will exit from my presentation. And I don't know if you have some questions.
Dr. Abodadana, hello again.
Hello.
Thank you so much for the course.
Oh, I'm very honored.
Wonderful course.
Thank you so much.
So I can see some question for you.
Okay.
Okay, let me show that. From Dr. Lim.
Okay, which kind, what of sealer you use? I'm usually working with a traditional eugenol-based sealer and zinc oxide eugenol sealer. But for some cases, sometimes I use a new bioceramic sealer. In some cases in which I have huge lesions or particular root canal anatomies. But in the biggest amount of cases, and all the cases I showed you in this presentation, I used a traditional zinc oxide eugenol sealer.
Okay, so for the next question, it's from
So what tools should you use to reach the end of the root? Okay, for sure, the most important step is the pre-flaring of root canals. So we have to do our best with stainless steel pre-cured small files in order to reach the apical third. Then today we have at disposal new endodontic files made with martensitic nickel titanium alloy that are very, very flexible, much more than traditional nickel titanium files. So after you gain the root canal, after you gain the apical third with a hand file, you can do the pre-flaring with mechanical files, and then you can shape the canals with the new martensitic files, like the one I showed you in the last case. Are there other questions? Yeah, right, of course. The apical patency is fundamental. After the root canal shaping, you have always to verify the diameter of preparation, and you have to verify the apical diameter, and the patency of the apical foramen have to be verified with small hand files during the shaping procedures. So I have to check every time the apical patency and the apical gauging. Which kind of file system do you use? I think that today we have at disposal so many high-performing files. We can find on the market so many files, so many instruments made with new generation nickel titanium alloy. So I think that we can use each kind of files. It's not mandatory to use a specific instrument. Honestly, I prefer to use simple file systems. I'm working from so many years with some single file, single use instruments. But honestly, I cannot recommend you a specific file, because in the last 20 years, nickel titanium have been evolved. The files have been evolved in geometry, in treatment of the metal, of the alloy, of the nickel titanium. So today we have high performing files of different manufacturers that can be used in a safe way with good results. Other question? Any complication? Oh, the main complication is to warm too long the sodium hypochlorite, because Alfredo Iandolo, in his research, in his publication, showed that we can use it in a safe way. He tested with the thermocouples the temperature, the outer temperature of dental roots, and he verified that if we warm it at no more than 180 degrees for no more than 6, 7, or 8 seconds, we can do it in a safe way. Honestly, I prefer to warm it, if possible, for less than 6 seconds. In the video I showed you, you can see that in many cases, in 2 or 3 seconds, the irrigating solution boils. As soon as it boils, I stop warming it inside the canal. And honestly, I'm using this technique. I started to use this technique more than 6 or 7 years ago, and never had any kind of complications. So I think that if we respect the protocols, we can work daily in a safe way. Another question. There are no more questions. Okay. The concentration of sodium hypochlorite, 5%. 5% is considered actually the best concentration. Here in Europe, in Italy, we also have at disposal concentration of 6%, but on the market are not available concentration more than 6%. I usually work with 5% sodium hypochlorite. Oh, the deepest as possible. We are used to work with small tips. The Buchanan tips, you can find the 30 as apical diameter and 4% of taper. The 30/04 is the one I use in daily practice until 3-4 millimeters to the working length. So you have to do the deepest as possible in the root canal until or short 3-4 millimeters shorter than the working length. Calcium hydroxide today the gold standard. I agree with the researcher and endodontist that prefer not to use any kind of intracanal medication. So in my daily practice, I'm not used to put intracanal medication inside the root canal, except for specific cases in which I have to reduce the pH in case of huge lesions, in presence of draining from the apex, in case of resorpted apex. But honestly, I'm not used to put calcium hydroxide inside the root canals. Obviously, calcium hydroxide has been used for a long time to reduce the bacterial load inside the root canal. So it can have an effect on bone loss, because if we reduce the bacterial load, healing process can be done by the body of the patient in a quicker way. Today, for example, some studies have been published about the new bioceramic bioactive cements, showing that these kind of cements are more effective in a quick healing of apical lesions or bone loss.
There is a question from Dr. Lee. He said, thanks for the amazing presentations. And can Dr. Alberto share some?
Oh no, you can find an article published. I have to search for it. Alfredo Iandolo, with Dr. Luca Ivaldi, with Dr. Dina Abdelatif, we published a technique for the management of open apex cases with a fibrin sponge put beyond the apex in order to create a barrier to the sodium hypochlorite, because when we treat open apex cases, the main risk is to extrude irrigating solution, to extrude the sodium hypochlorite. So we proposed, and Alfredo Iandolo mainly proposed, this technique called the FAB technique. FAB means fibrin apical barrier. They use a fibrin sponge put beyond the open apex in order to create a barrier to reduce the risk of apical extrusion of sodium hypochlorite. So in that way we can activate and warm it inside the canal in a safer way.
Okay, so for the next question from Dr. Lim.
An interaction with, yeah, of course. EDTA is an acid solution. Sodium hypochlorite is an alkaline solution. So they interact for a chemical reaction of inactivation. Acidic irrigating solution and alkaline irrigating solution tend to neutralize themselves. So when you rinse, some endodontists suggest to do an intermediate rinse with saline to remove the DTA and then to put a new sodium hypochlorite solution after removal with saline. Honestly, I'm not used to do it. I rinse much more time with the new solution, because if I have sodium hypochlorite in root canal, inside the root canal, I rinse with EDTA, and the first amount of DTA extruded inside the root canal is inactivated by sodium hypochlorite. So I rinse more in order to refresh the DTA, and I do the same when I use EDTA after sodium hypochlorite. You have only to rinse more in order to remove the inactivated amount of solution.
And again, Dr. Lim, and he wants to
Okay,
know
so
why only hit the sodium
mainly,
hypochlorite.
I do it mainly. I activate the sodium hypochlorite, but when I have tight canals or a large amount of debris of dentinal Vusmer layer, I activate also the DTA. I spoke mainly, or probably I cited mainly sodium hypochlorite, but you can do it also with EDTA. It's the same. You can you can activate also the EDTA.
Next question.
How do you negotiate calcified canals? The negotiation of calcified canals is one of the most difficult procedures. You can do it with, first of all, with patience. You have to have much more patience. You have to spend a lot of time to negotiate it with the aid of EDTA and with small stainless steel hand files. And you have to do your best to reach the working length bypassing the calcification or doing your best to enlarge the canals. But I think that it's fundamental, the aid of EDTA. EDTA is able to remove the first microns of calcified dentin. It softens the calcified dentin, and with manual hand files, you can negotiate the canals. But you have to spend a long time to do it.
Okay, we face the last question.
It's the same question. So the answer is the same.
So thank you so much for the course, and I did like many of our customers watch this video could have know a lot about how to do a good and root canal preparations, and then if you mix something, you could review this video after this course. And so it is about the lottery times. So before the lottery times, I'd like to introduce, and the lucky draw can get some very good products as a souvenir for these courses. So I'd like to tell what product you can get. So as anybody can check, there is our high-speed handpiece. It is a high-speed handpiece. The name with Titan. It is a very great design. Let's see. Okay, as you can see, the head of the high-speed handpiece of Titans, and there is 4 hose blades. It can cooling the burst very nice, and it use the import bearing. It can make sure that it has a long life, low noises, and more stable. And after that, as you can see, it is a different angle, different degree, and compare with another simple high-speed handpiece. It is designed with special angle and with reject wedding. And we have a special design of this high-speed handpiece Titan, and we compare with the other brand high-speed handpiece, and like the brand S, brand J, and brand W. And our Titans, the cutting forces increased by about 76.9%. It is a very amazing things. And then after that, we test our noises level compare with the other brands. Our noises level is in the middle, so it means that it will has less noise when you using it in your jobs. It is a very amazing product. So let's see which one can get it. So Dr. Alberto, we will going to the lottery time. So I'd like to need you to help us to start and stop. Okay?
Okay.
Okay, so let's begin. Okay, so I will need to select today and then get comments. Oh, we get a lot of comments.
Okay.
And then Dr. Alberto, so we just like that, and you say 1, 2, begin, and then I will press the start button, and then we will start. So come on, let's do it.
I have to do it?
Yeah.
Okay. I did it. Okay.
In your counts.
Oh. I can't do it.
Yeah. Let's begin.
I did it.
Yeah.
Okay.
I did it. In your counts. I will did it.
Okay.
Okay. So give me 3 numbers. 1, 2, 3, and go. And I will press the button.
Okay. 1, 2,
Okay.
3, go.
Okay, go. So see who is the winner. Okay, we got a winner. Doctor.
Lucky dentist.
Yes.
Lucky man.
Congratulations. Okay, so as you all know, COXO will have free public webinar every week. Please stay tuned on our COXO Facebook main page and follow our page, and then you will get our new informations, and then follow it, and then you will have many courses, and then we'll learn a lot of knowledge, and just like how to do better root canal preparations. And then next week we will have a course So I will introduce the course to you. So next week we will have that. Next week we will have Dr. Hassan Basin from, let me check that, from India. So please follow our COXO main page, and then you can stay tuned and then stand by. So today I'm very appreciate for Dr. Abototana, and he give us a wonderful courses, and we learn a lot of knowledge. So Dr. Abototana, could you share some your words in your daily life? And we all love you, and I as your truly love fans, and I want
Thank you so much.
nature. Yeah.
Thank you. It's a great pleasure for me. I'm very, very honored, and it's been a pleasure for me to being there. And thank you so much to COXO staff, to everyone made this webinar possible. Thank you so much.
Yeah, we thank you. Okay, so much for the day. Bye bye, everyone.
Bye. 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 See you.
Thank you for
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye bye.